BuzzFeed News released a long article about Breitbart yesterday, and they managed to get their hands on internal emails that have some pretty damning stuff, so we're going to go through some of it here. One of the things that they released, I want to have some fun with this first, is this video of right-wing sensation Milo Yiannopoulos singing America the Beautiful to a bunch of neo-Nazis making the Nazi salute, including Richard Spencer, by the way.
America, America, God shed His grace on me, and round the good wind brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
He's such a queen, man. Oh. But the singing wasn't bad. I gotta give him some props on the singing. That wasn't bad, Milo. Milo? How do you say it? I think it's Milo, right? But yeah, you saw like 3, 4, maybe 5 people in the audience were doing the Nazi salute. He was like, "Oh, I didn't see him." Really? And one of them was Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer was in the audience. And they, Richard Spencer, who's like certified alt-right, goes after what he calls the alt-light, who are the people that in his mind, they don't go far enough. People like Gavin McInnes and probably, I don't know if Milo's included in the alt-light group, but seemingly Milo. So there was supposed to be some sort of feud between them, but it looks like they're buddy-buddy and they're hanging out and they're having fun. And, Richard Spencer's out there doing the Nazi salute. And also, I love the irony of that. Singing America the Beautiful, while they make Nazi salutes, which is weird because, the U.S. and Britain and Russia kind of defeated the Nazis. So you're singing America the Beautiful while you're like paying homage to their enemies. It's a little weird. And by the way, some people are like, yeah, they're kidding. I don't think they're kidding. And the reason I don't think they're kidding is we've seen countless, Richard Spencer speeches. And, he's the guy who said, hail our people, hail Trump, hail victory. That's taken directly from Nazi speeches where they go, obviously, hail Hitler, but hail our people. He talked about the Lügenpresse, which is the lying press, which is a Nazi term referring to the press. And then at that Richard Spencer speech, everybody in the audience was doing the Nazi salute. It was just so many people were just like, yeah, we know what's happening here. This is like barely masked neo-Nazism. And for a while, they tried to hide it, and they're like, no, we're just, online troll culture and stuff. And, anyway, here's some Pepe the Frogs, and no, we're just fucking with people with, memes and stuff, and we're just trying to trigger the liberals. Yeah, trigger liberals. So stupid, liberals triggered. But now it's literally at the point where, Milo's singing America the Beautiful, people in the audience are doing the Nazi salute, and then some people are like, yeah, well, you fell for the fucking Nazi salute. Oh, does a Nazi salute get you angry? Fucking triggered liberal. What the fuck is next? As you're shoving people into gas chambers, oh, yeah, liberals, you're, triggered by the fact that I'm shoving people in gas chambers. Stupid liberal. I triggered you. Oh, my genocide triggered you? What the fuck? So, yeah, it looks like they're all buddy-buddy. You got the alt-right, you got neo-Nazis, you got all these internet celebrities in a way. Not bashing that part specifically, because, who are we kidding? But there are other revelations in the piece as well. Steve Bannon told Milo to be more extreme and provocative to get more media attention. So that was after Milo had given a speech on a college campus and Black Lives Matter protesters stormed the stage. Milo said, I was actually scared that I was going to get punched or something. And so Steve Bannon was like, dude, who are you kidding? You need more of this. Be more provocative, get more attention like this, because this is going to get the attention of more people in the press, and it's going to get more eyeballs on us. And they offered him, I love this fact, Bannon told Milo, we'll get you the Mercer's private security. We're going to get you some private security. And the Mercers, for those of you who don't know, are a big billionaire Republican donor family. So think about that. These are guys who claim, Bannon, Milo, they claim, oh, we're so anti-establishment. Oh, yes, we're just fighting the Republican establishment. In bed with the Mercers, billionaire establishment Republican donors. Not only that, there was another story about how Milo and Bannon and the dude from Duck Dynasty met on a yacht in France to meet with billionaires about financing. That is the opposite of anti-establishment. You are literally in bed with the establishment because you probably slept on the yacht in France. So it's like the whole thing is like a ruse. It's all kind of mucked up and organized, and it's the Republican establishment in bed with people who people thought were anti-establishment, but they're not, and they really have uncomfortably close ties to like literal neo-Nazis. And the further proof to me that I was like, oh, come on, that's it. We're done here. Not just the fact that Milo and Richard Spencer were hanging out in buddy-buddy and people are doing the fucking Nazi salute as he's singing, but Milo and Breitbart literally worked with the lead guy, I think the editor, at the Daily Stormer. What? So the Daily Stormer, that's like the literal white supremacist, white nationalist Nazi that they wear it on their sleeve, and they don't play the coy game of like where they play footsie with them and they're like, we kind of agree with you on everything, but no, in theory, I'm against racism and anti-Semitism and stuff. No, the Daily Stormer's like, hey, here we are. We're the racists and the anti-Semites. And Milo, when he wrote a piece on the alt-right, he was emailing back and forth with the Daily Stormer guy and like, hey, man, tell me like what you'd like me to add to this and stuff. And he did this with multiple people who are like noted white supremacist neo-Nazi figures. So in other words, the idea that Breitbart was like, oh, come on, we're not the home of those people. We're against those people. Not only are you not against them, you were in bed with them asking them for suggestions. So, and Bannon said recently in a different interview, he was like, yeah, those people are stupid, the white nationalists and stuff. But the reality is, behind the scenes, Bannon and Milo and the rest of them were working with white nationalists, white supremacists, and even literal neo-Nazis. When you're buddy-buddy with the editor of the Daily Stormer, there was a separate email where Milo was like, this guy's one of the most brilliant, most intelligent guys I've ever spoken to. We need to get him on our podcast. And the guy who was the one of the other top officials at Breitbart was like, I don't know, man. I think that might be a little too far. So, as they were making best friends with these overt white supremacists, other people at Breitbart were like, really? We're going to go that blatant with this, that overt with this, that in your face with this? But I saved the best for last. Here's my favorite part. Quote, this is from the piece. In an April 6th email, Alam Bokhari, who's Milo's like co-writer, mentioned having had access to an account of Yiannopoulos' with a password that began with the word crystal. Not crystal, C-R-Y-S-T-A-L, but K-R-I-S-T-A-L-L. Now, what's that, you ask? Kristallnacht, an infamous 1938 riot against German Jews carried out by the SA, the paramilitary organization that helped Hitler rise to power, is sometimes considered the beginning of the Holocaust. But that's not it. In a June 2016 email to an assistant, Yiannopoulos shared the password to his email, which began, Long Knives 1290. The Night of the Long Knives was the Nazi purge of the leadership of the SA. The purge famously included Ernst Röhm, I don't know how to pronounce that, the SA's gay leader. 1290 is the year King Edward I expelled the Jews from England. Wow. So, look, I have to admit, I was a little naive on this, too. When I look at a guy like Milo, my thought was, well, it's obvious that he's, a provocateur, if you will, which I think is a silly word, but it's an apt description of a guy like Milo. So I thought he was that, but I thought his whole point was like he's trying to get liberals and progressives angry and trying to provoke this, over-the-top response, sometimes a violent response with riots and whatnot. But his whole thing was like, yeah, I'm against the social justice warriors and I'm just a fame whore, basically. That was my take on him. But no, according to these new revelations, it's that plus the fact that he might actually hold some, like, genuinely hateful, bigoted, white supremacist views. I mean, when you're calling the guy brilliant, who's the editor of the Daily Stormer, and you're hanging out with Richard Spencer and co., and they're making the Nazi salutes while you sing, and apparently your fucking password is Crystal, short for Crystal Knocked, and Long Knives 1290, apparently maybe you do have some legit neo-Nazi sympathies, if not just outright being a neo-Nazi. So, yeah, I think, these guys had a lot of people fooled. One of my friends had told me a while ago, like, no, I really had thought for a while that the alt-right was just about, like, making fun of liberals who are oversensitive. But then he was like, oh, I think the light bulb moment for him was the Richard Spencer speech where he's talking about Lugenpresse and saying Hail Trump and people in the audience are giving the Nazi salute. It was like a light bulb moment where he's like, oh, wait, shit. No, these are like white supremacists and neo-Nazis. And that's when he was like, I don't know how anybody can fucking look at these people and take them seriously. And now this is just further evidence to that effect. That's what it is, but it's also like the so-called alt-light and the alt-right really work symbiotically. How do you say that? Symbiotically? And like Breitbart, for example, is just overtly playing footsies with them and sending articles to the editor of the Daily Stormer to say, do you like it? LOL, tee-hee-hee. Let's play footsies. Aren't the Jews terrible? Don't blacks and immigrants suck? Oh, yes. Haha, trigger liberals what? Oh, did I trigger you? Did I trigger you by doing my Nazi salute? Whoa, are you against Nazis? Is that what you are? Fucking virtue signaler snowflake? Look, bottom line, man, don't take these guys seriously. Like, I get it. Sometimes people on the authoritarian left, the actual left-wing snowflakes on college campuses, sometimes they make it easy to mock them. I get it. Everybody gets it. The fucking people with the blue hair and they're like, bro, I'm so complicated. Anyway, we should ban everybody who I dislike. Like, I get it. Those people are so easy to fucking mock and it's easy to have a reactionary response to that and go, well, now I like these kinds of people like Milo who seem to make a point of triggering those people and getting them against him. But look, when push comes to shove, what do they really stand for? If they just stand for triggering people, well, then that's vacuous. That's vapid. What do you actually believe? Some of them believe nothing. But then there's an even bigger question mark, which is some of them literally are white supremacists and neo-Nazis. And hey, if that's the kind of stuff you're into, by all means, but I think you're horrendously wrong and kind of stupid. And, this is just more evidence to that effect here.